15 things that poor people do that the rich don't. Welcome to Achievers.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Hello Achievers, and welcome back to a slightly different video. We know that many of you are on your way to achieving financial success, so we wanted to put together a list of things that poor people do which guarantees their mediocrity. Please take all of this with a grain of salt and realize, we are here to make you think about your current situation and what you can do to better yourself. The thing is, whenever we do a video like this, some people will always take offense. While you're busy bashing us in the comments, the true achievers write this down and see if there is room for improvement in their own lives. In order to make a list that is actually valuable enough for you guys, we've consulted with some of our own mentors and millionaire friends about some of the differences between the poor and the rich in their day-to-day lives. As always, there are plenty of exceptions to this rules. Not everyone is in control of their circumstances, but being aware of this activities might give you a slight edge. And who knows, if you start doing them, maybe you will be closer to that objective you've been dreaming about. Without wasting much time, here are 15 things poor people do that the rich don't. Number 1. Poor people don't shower as often as rich people do. Initially, we thought this was just a made-up fact, but it turns out to be true, and amazingly it explains a lot. When you really think about it, most of the jobs today are in the service industries, where human contact is very important in order to have a successful exchange of value. People who don't have good personal hygiene will in time be less successful than their counterparts. People tend to trust them less. People want to spend less time in their presence, and all of this have ramifications in their personal life. If people don't like you and don't want to be around you, what kind of partners do you think you will attract? Exactly. It might seem ridiculous, but the first step to success should be maintaining a good personal hygiene. Number 2. Poor people have no money saved. One of the differences between poor people and the rich is that the poor don't get ready for unforeseen circumstances in the future. Having money put aside allows for growth. Let's say something bad happens. If you have money put aside, the problem is solved and you can resume your life. On the other hand, if you don't and the situation is urgent, what do? You either liquidate an asset or you can take out a loan. For the rich, when the situation is over, they are left in the same position minus the savings, while for someone who is poor, their lifestyle has been seriously hit, or now belongs to the creditor. Now let's look at the exact opposite. Let's say an opportunity arises. Those who have money put aside now have the chance to expand their lives, while the other can't afford to take full advantage of this opportunity. That's why the rich are getting richer and the poor are remaining poor. Number 3. Poor people use credit cards or take out loans for useless things. One of the main differences between the rich and the poor is how they make use of credit. The rule is simple: you shouldn't take out a loan to buy something that doesn't generate more money than the loan. You should only use credit if what you are using it for is an investment. Wanting to take a loan for a large TV, the new Supreme Gear, or even the new iPhone is a bad use of credit, unless you are flipping the Supreme Gear for profit, or using the new iPhone to develop a new app to grow your business. These items should not be on your credit. Instead, earn the money and then spend it. Number 4. Poor people watch a lot of TV. Let me put it this way: if you have a lot of time to watch reality TV, you're probably poor. It's always amazing how much time poor people waste on meaningless television. It's one of those distractions that grabs you and doesn't let go. If you know which celebrity is dating who, and if you're watching TV shows every week, and if you have a favorite news channel, you're probably watching too much television, hence why your life is the way it is. Let me explain. Celebrity gossip offers no value to your life, it only serves the celebrities. Rich people aim to be on TV instead of watching it. You might say, but fellow achiever, I'm watching The Big Bang Theory, which is a really funny show that helps me disconnect. That's exactly the issue. You're disconnecting from your problems instead of dealing with them and getting them out of the way. There are rare occasions where, in the words of John Lennon, time you enjoy wastin' is not wasted time. But think about it, should sitting inside watching a screen be something you really enjoy doing? Before we move forward to the next thing poor people do, let me explain what I meant by having a favorite news channel. You might say the only good reason to watch TV is to be aware of what is happening in the world and staying informed. The problem we are seeing with this is that TV stations are always biased in order to fit their own agenda. Instead, use the power of the internet to get a quick glimpse of what the world is like today and move on to do your own thing. Number 5. Poor people eat fast food. Health is really important, and yet many poor people have no interest in knowing what's in their food, what an actual healthy meal should look like, or barely know anything about nutrition. Poor people are constantly blasting their brains with large quantities of sugar and fats that have no nutritional value. They're actually ruining their bodies, and as an effect they cannot perform at 100% of their potential. If you're not healthy, all aspects of your life are directly affected, which will affect you physically, mentally, professionally, and even romantically. Number 6. Poor people buy clothes or products that are on sale. Look at it this way. The only thing you should buy on sale are stocks. While poor people are looking to conserve or stretch the little that they have, the rich are focusing on increasing their incomes. Just think about it. The clothes that end up being on sale are the ones that people who could afford to pay the full price didn't want. By buying expensive clothes on sale, you're just making sure you're looking exactly like someone who cannot afford to pay the full price. Number 7. Poor people will wake up later than rich people in their early years. Poor people are often lazier than rich people in their early days. We know that a lot of you will be bothered a lot by the previous statement, but statistically it's the truth. People who use their youth to grow themselves are a lot less likely to remain poor. On the other hand, if you wake up late, don't educate yourself, and waste time on meaningless activities like television, at one point you will find yourself so far behind what the world needs from you that you'll find yourself miserable. The paradox is people who did not focus on growth in the early days end up working a lot harder with little success rate later in life. Number 8. Poor people are really into sports. The truth is, unless you're a professional athlete, or an owner of one of the teams, there is really no reason for you to watch sports. It's the same with television. It's escapism from your current reality. Think of it like this. You're putting yourself in a position where you as an individual have no impact on the outcome of the game. This behavior then sticks with you and you end up being a spectator in life instead of being a player or an owner. And that's when you start criticizing other people when you yourself haven't done anything better. Number 9. Poor people blame others for their misfortunes. How many people do you know that have some sort of excuse, or blame other factors for not being successful yet? There are some things that are out of our control, but 99% of your life is on you. Remember that you are in charge of your life, you are in charge of your relationships, and you are in charge of your health. If you want things to change, then do something about it. Life is not what happens to us, but rather it's about how we react to what happens to us. When something bad happens, the poor choose to victimize themselves while the rich look into it, study it, and they search to find out what happened, why it happened, and how they can protect from it in the future. While one assumes the position of pitiful victim, the other uses it as a growing point. Number 10. Poor people tend to have more kids and earlier in life. The truth is, kids are really expensive. We all know how fun it is to make them, or at least practice making them. But people get stuck up to this point. They don't think it's true. Just to give you a sense of perspective, if you are living in one of the more developed countries, raising a child will cost you approximately $250,000. But because of a lack of education, bad environment, and other factors, poor people have on average more children, and at a younger age than their rich counterparts. While the rich wait a couple of years until their standards of living improve in order to assure the right environment and prime conditions for their children to flourish, the poor just go ahead with it. Once the baby comes, the struggle begins just so they can stay afloat and progress beyond barely surviving, which is almost impossible. Number 11. Poor people do not do regular checks with their doctors. We've touched on the importance of health in the past, but this is a especially important point. Poor people don't get themselves checked regularly. Let's say by mere chance you end up having a disease, let's say cancer. If you do regular checkups, you will discover it in its early stages, making the treatment possible and at a lower cost. But if on the other hand you neglect to do regular checks with your doctor, you might discover it only when it's too late. It will cost both you and your entire family a fortune, and no matter how much money you have, you might still lose your life. Number 12. Poor people spend money before they get it. One of the biggest dangers in life is spending money before you have it. The second you start borrowing money or acquiring expenses before you're able to pay them, your life starts to spiral down. If you don't have money with something that you're willing to part with without affecting your life, then you can't afford it. Go back to work and then get it. Number 13. Poor people surround themselves with other poor people. True achievers know that you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with most. If you are surrounded by 4 poor people, guess who's the 5th? One of the ways people make sure they stay poor is by affiliating themselves or hanging out with other poor people that reinforce their poor beliefs. You need people around you that will inspire you and push you further, that are doing incredible things themselves, and whose success will only motivate you to exceed your current reality. If you're hanging out with the same people you did when you were younger, you might want to double check. Don't be afraid to step away from the crowd and move on to something better. If you don't, your potentials will probably be crushed by those who want to feel better about their miserable lives, by making sure you suffer the same fate. Number 14. Poor people never follow through on their ideas or potentials. You're not able to control who your parents are, where you were born, or the way society treats you. The only thing you can control is the amount of hours you put into your dream. Every single person alive only has 24 hours per day, and yet some do a lot more than others. If you dedicate yourself into learning and implementing what you're passionate about, it's only a matter of time until you reach success. You've heard that 9 out of 10 businesses fail in their first 3 years. Well, do you know how many businesses fail because they never got started? The answer is all of them. If you have an idea, work on it, put it out, get feedback, improve it and launch again, and always remember that true achievers never quit. And finally, number 15. Poor people believe that others should help them reach the top. The world doesn't owe you anything. Believe it or not, you're in this by yourself. You are in charge of what happens in your own life. The thing is, everyone believes when they are young that they are going to be successful, but then reality happens. This world we are living in rewards only the best to the best. Those that never quit, those that keep learning, keep adapting, and those who understand that nobody will solve their problems for them. You should face all your problems head on. And on the way, you might meet people that feel the same way and might share parts of the journey with you. Otherwise you'll just be a part of that majority that's meant to fail. Thank you very much for watching this far into the video. We know that this video was pretty long, but we believe that maybe this video will help you in your journey. If you know someone who may be guilty of any of these 15 things, please do not hesitate to show them this video. Also, tell us in the comments what things you believe poor people do that the rich don't. Oh, you're still here. Quite interesting. Thank you for being a true achiever. Here is your bonus fact. Poor people are more religious than rich people. Can you imagine a chaos if we started the video with this? The fact is, statistically speaking, successful people rely on their own forces for their well-being, while the poor believe that a mythical force will somehow reward them for being a good person. And even though presidents and CEOs might mention God in their speeches, most of them are not really religious. If you've watched up to this point and want to prove that you're a true achiever, please write, "I will be rich" in the comments section. Make your desires public, so we can keep you accountable for them. Thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure to like and subscribe with the bell icon so you never miss another video. Thank you for being a fellow achiever, and we'll see you in the next video.